Today on the Rebelcast, triangles. We'll discuss their relation to occultism and secret societies. Is it actually they have mystical powers, or are they just geometrical shapes? Where at the end of the podcast you will discover why this shape was chosen to frame the so-called all-seeing eye and its relation to the obelisks. My name is Hassan, and you are listening to episode 13 of the Rebelcast. Before we start, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and activate notifications, as it does help me create more content for you. Thank you. Thank you for joining into the Rebelcast, a place where we approach to solve the riddle called life. Today we will be talking about the relation between Euclid's geometry and secret societies. As we discussed in the previous episode, the most sacred shape that Euclid witnessed in his first proposition was the Vesica Piscis, which is the area of intersection between two circles such that their perimeters passes through each one's center. This almond shape, as we mentioned before, is considered of great importance in ancient civilizations and in our modern days as the feminine symbol of creation and manifestation. Yet, not too many are aware of its presence in our daily life. Also, we mentioned that Euclid was able to draw an equilateral triangle inside the Vesica Piscis by connecting the two centers of the circles with their point of intersection. That triangle was the symbol of linear masculine creation from the curved feminine Vesica Piscis. Today, our greater emphasis will be on the triangle, which is a major symbol in modern occultism and secret societies, same as ancient civilizations. We can't actually just mention triangles without mentioning the Freemasons, one of the secret societies whom they brought great importance to geometrical shapes, whom they also practiced ritual magic and ceremonies. They considered Euclid as a Masonic master of his craft in mathematics and geometry. They even believed that Prophet Abraham was the person who taught Euclid the art of geometry to introduce it in architecture, as it was mentioned in the book History of Freemasonry by Albert Mackey. Also, Abraham is believed to be the first builder by the Hebrews, as they believe he was the first to build the Kaaba in Mecca. Not just that, Freemasons also built their own secret language through geometrical shapes that they communicate through. In their geometrical language, they considered the equilateral triangle as a symbol of a deity, being a perfect triangle of equal sides, and born from Euclid's first proposition inside the sacred Vesica Piscis, which is a symbol of feminine creation. Also in their alchemical texts, the shape symbolizes the fire element pointing upwards. This symbol was also carried into the Jewish system, where the name of their god Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh is present inside a tetractys. Also, some occultists use the triangle as a summoning symbol at the culmination of a ritual. The desired being is expected to appear within a triangle inscribed upon the floor. Not also to forget that the triangle shows clearly on the dollar bill, which we will discuss in details later in this podcast. In a more general form, the triangle has 3 points, which can represent many related things that a person can induce their perception to shape their own concept. It can represent intellect, love, and power. On the other side, it can represent spirit, soul, and body. It can also reflect creator, sustainer, and destroyer. Or in Freemasonry terms, they like to induce beauty, strength, and wisdom. In addition to the equilateral triangle, Freemasons were also influenced by the square angles, which is clear on their symbol represented by a square under the compass. They symbolize the square as a form of perfection of the act, and a necessary tool to erect any building, whether physical or spiritual. This clearly shows us how Freemasons work their plans relative to the branch of science called geometry, represented by the capital G on their symbol. The Masons were also influenced by Euclid's 47th proposition in his first book Elements, which proves Pythagorean theorem that the square of a hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides of a right triangle, whom also the ancient Egyptians were influenced by the same shape of a right triangle, and they symbolized every side by the name of their gods, such as the hypotenuse being their god Horus, as the birth from the other two sides, whom are resembled by Isis and Osiris. Now let's discuss the meaning of the triangle symbol found on the dollar bill to have a better understanding to this riddle. But before that, don't forget to hit the like and share button, as it does help me create more content for you. First of all, you need to understand that this symbol has two meanings. One that concerns the details of the image, the microcosm, and another that concerns the totality of it, the macrocosm. Let's start with the microcosmic meaning. As we see, the symbol has two portions. The upper, which is the spiritual, abstract, mysterious feminine part, with the eye inside the triangle. And the lower, which is earthly, masculine, active, manifested part of a shape called frustum in geometrical terms, which is a three-dimensional trapezoid, as most people will see it as a non-finished pyramid. For the upper portion, we have a triangle, which is the primary figure from which all others are built. As we mentioned before, it's considered to be the symbol of a deity and the element of fire. Also, the shape that relates three main aspects that in Freemasonry terms would be beauty, wisdom, and strength. Those three aspects are the main pillars for Freemason members that they move their craft along. As of to build a great building, you need strength to hold the tools, you need wise plan to erect it, and a beautiful artistic shape that will give it beauty, as the end result will be about the beauty of the outcome, and beauty creates love. The triangle is drawn in a way that looks like an open portal in the sky, the air element, having rays of sun behind it as symbol of enlightenment, linked to the fire element. Same way, we see a halo behind a divine figure like Jesus Christ or Buddha. So they considered this form to be of a divine nature. Moreover, as we mentioned, triangles are used as a summoning symbol by occultists. So what is being communicated to us is that there is a deity being summoned from the sky through this portal. But let's take a more careful look. The triangle has an eye inside it. The eye has a shape of a sacred Vesica Pisces, explained in the previous episode. So in geometrical terms, we have the shape of a Vesica Pisces, which represents manifestation, the feminine aspect, the creation, inscribed inside of a triangle representing the masculine aspect. That is the geometrical shape being induced in our human perception every time we look at it. The eye is a symbol of projection and reception of information, creation and destruction. It creates our reality through whatever we project our consciousness to, and it's of feminine nature, unlike the triangle, which has the masculine nature. So we have the feminine being born from the masculine triangle, or the masculine having dominions over the feminine, which also is reflected in Freemasonry, as it is a brotherhood. This symbol seems to be of hypnotic nature, as if it demands you to look at it. Also, I can see wave lines inside the triangle, which symbolizes illusion of nature. Now, this triangle is aligned with the frustum, a three-dimensional trapezoid, which symbolizes that the mysterious upper portion was able to manifest the lower earthly portion through the eye that received beauty, strength, and wisdom, reflecting the saying, as above, so below. Now let's dive into the macrocosmic total meaning encrypted in this figure. For the total shape, I need to give you a small hint. You need to know that the trapezoidal shape was used by the ancient Babylonians to track the motion of planet Jupiter, and that planet was a symbol of their god Marduk, whom was considered the highest of gods, synonymous to Zeus in ancient Greek and Amun in ancient Egypt. It has deeper meaning than just non-finished pyramid. In actuality, it's a symbol of alignment with the deity above it. Also, the trapezoid has long been regarded by occultists as the most satanic of shapes, especially adapted to enhance demonic manifestation. Also, the middle order of the satanic brotherhood is called the Order of the Trapezoid, which the Church of Satan founded by Anton LaVey is based upon. They also wear the trapezoidal shape in their satanic rituals, and they considered that shape as a symbol for the Order of Trapezoid. A second major point you need to understand about the eye above it is that Euclid believed in emission or extra-mission theory, which is a proposal that the visual perception is accomplished by eye beams emitted by the eyes that interact with the rays of the sun to produce an image. Not just that, but also the beams that come from the eye can affect the surrounding negatively or positively. Depends on the intention being harnessed. That is one of the reasons why the eye is of great importance in secret societies, because they know it has this type of mystical invisible power which modern science today disapprove about. And that is exactly where concepts like the evil eye come from, where it's believed in the Eastern world that the human eye can destroy things around it if it has bad or envious intentions. And more proof about that is the obelisk built in Washington, D.C. It was erected in honor of the first president of the United States, George Washington, who was also a master mason. It has a symbol of an eye beneath it, and the obelisk is being erected inside of the eye. You need to know that the obelisk is a symbol of the sun rays since ancient Egyptian times, and some might perceive them as arrows being pointed at the sky. Drawing the eye beneath it means they are projecting the power of the eye up to heavens, which seems like it wants to pierce the sky with its power. Also, another example is the obelisk in St. Peter's Square in Rome. There's also a sun beneath the obelisk, which is of course not a coincidence that the rays of the sun drawn around it have a trapezoidal shape, and the obelisk resembles the rays of the sun being pierced up to the sky. So as a result of all of that, the macrocosmic meaning of the symbol tells us that the trapezoid used to track the highest god in ancient civilizations is aligned with a triangle and an eye. The eye is clearly a human eye, so what it's telling us is that the human eye is the greatest creator of all human perception and illusions. The human eye is the highest of gods. That all being said, clear as light. It shows us how geometry played a huge role in occultic practices, as it's the basis of their writings. They were highly influenced by geometrical shapes, whom they induced a metaphysical perception to every shape, same as what Euclid believed in his elements. The question is, does it really work? My answer to you is, just look around you. How the world is being shaped. Look at the geometrical condition of the world. The totality of our world today is based on wars, hate, ego, destruction. This means whatever being geometrically projected is being of evil use. And whoever is in charge of this is not doing a great job, where most of the gain is being projected to a very small portion of society, whom are masters of this craft. And the symphony of God continues in an approach to solve this riddle called life. Stay tuned for more. My name is Hassan, and you are listening to the Rebelcast. Stay tuned for episode 14, where we will discuss the nature and history of the obelisks in more details. Before I go, I want to thank you so much for reaching the end of the podcast, and if you wanted to listen to the music playing in the background, it's actually my own composition from an album called The Ancient. You can find it on YouTube at The Rebel Angel. Also, if you really like this type of podcasts and want me to create more content for you, you can support me on Patreon at The Rebel Angel, where I will be sending and composing music for all of my supporters, in addition to many more benefits. I'll leave all the links in the description box. Thank you so much.